It's almost the weekend, and guess what? It is about to get stinking hot. Yes, sirree, Bob. A little taste of summer is on the way, but not for too long because active weather returns next week. But before all that, we still have some weather to get through in western parts of the state today. Let's tell you about it in this Friday edition of your Texas Weather Roundup. Happy Friday. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Baldy and Chief David Reimer, and you're watching the Texas Weather Roundup for the 29th of May, 2026. We definitely appreciate you taking time out of your day to pop on in for some Texas weather information. I know, when the weather starts getting a little less active, most of y'all have no reason to pop on here, so we appreciate it when you do. So, guess what? Let's just show you what we have going on right now in that magical land of the weather radar department. The satellite imagery this morning, not looking too bad across the state. We definitely have a lot of high clouds across western sections of the state late this morning. Some low clouds across the eastern half of the state, along with all that moisture return. A couple of storms already underway across parts of central and southern Oklahoma. We're going to have to watch some of those to see if they can make it down to the Red River in eastern sections of Texoma, into northeast Texas and the Arklatex early this afternoon with some gusty winds, rain, and lightning, if they can make it to the Red River at all. And then we already have a few showers across West Texas and the southwestern Panhandle down into the Guadalupe Mountains early. Well, I say early this afternoon. It's still late this morning. I'll let the cat out of the bag. We're recording this right at about 11:15 a.m. It'll be out on YouTube probably by 11:35 to 11:40. So, not too far off the mark. Now, going into this afternoon, we are going to have to deal with the risk of some more rambunctious thunderstorms across the western sections of Texas as we see a upper-level shortwave kick in from the southwest, and that's going to result in those showers you saw across the Panhandle of West Texas already escalating into some rowdier thunderstorms. Storm Prediction Center indicating the potential for scattered severe storms this afternoon, generally from about 2 to 3 p.m. Central through probably 10 to 11 p.m. Central. This isn't going to be a late night event. Things are going to be quieted down pretty quickly after sunset. But this afternoon, evening, guess what? We're going to have to deal with strongest storms producing very large hail, maybe up to the size of tennis balls. Hopefully nothing more rambunctious than that, but I can't rule it out. It is late May after all. It's not particularly difficult to get falling chunks of ice out of the sky. You get localized damaging wind gusts, and some of those winds could be above 70 miles an hour. If by chance any of the storms manage to find an area that hasn't had much rain lately, blowing dust, the threat of a tornado is very low. This does not look like a tornado day, but I'm not going to completely rule it out because that's just a good way to make Mama Nature mad, and Mama Nature tends to get revenge and taunt us with spinny spinny doom dooms when we do that. So we won't say it's a zero risk, but it is non-zero. Hopefully the word zero doesn't also annoy Mother Nature. And again, that's 3 p.m. through about 10 to 11 p.m. this evening Central. Things quieting down a couple hours after sunset, and then we can all go amongst our merry way into the weekend. Let's take a look at that super-de-duper awesome blossom. I lied. We're going to take a look at tomorrow first. Here's the severe weather outlook for Saturday. The potential for a isolated severe storm or two east of the dry line, northwest Texas, the Big Country, the Concho Valley, down into the eastern parts of the Big Bend. And again, far fewer storms tomorrow than today. But if we get a storm going up, it's going to be rowdy with some hail, wind for a few hours before it goes adios, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, bye-bye. Now, let's take a look at the high-res rapid refresh model for today, tonight, Saturday into Saturday night. And again, you can see we have a plethora of thunderstorms expected this afternoon east of the dry line. Eastern Panhandle, Central Panhandle down into West Texas, the Permian Basin, eastern parts of the Big Bend, and then those try to move off the dry line late this afternoon, early this evening, but they're not going to have too much success before they get squashed into oblivion. But still, some of y'all in northwest Texas, the Big Country, maybe even the Concho Valley, may have to deal with some thunderstorm activity early this evening before they dissipate. Now, something we're going to have to watch for when these storms dissipate, we'll have to see if we get any areas of strong winds from the decaying updrafts. Sometimes that happens in this kind of an environment where you could get some what we call heat bursts or even a wake low event, but probably heat burst activity where storms die off so quickly, all the remnant rain from that updraft starts falling, and then you end up with a lot of wind. That wind accelerates as it moves towards the ground, and in the environment like this, it actually heats up a bit, so you end up with gusty winds for a few hours. We'll see if that happens today. But otherwise, going into tonight into Saturday morning, fairly quiet. We're not expecting a whole lot of issues outside of maybe some low clouds and fog along the coast and within about 100 miles of the coast. Going into Saturday, you can see we'll have plenty of upper level clouds, maybe some low level clouds near the coast to start off the day. An isolated severe storm or two possible east of the dry line, but for most folks, not a thing. So the real impact from the weather this weekend across most of Texas is going to be the heat. We are going to have a bit of a heat dome setup shop nearby just for a day or two, but it's going to be enough to give us a little sinking air and to help increase those temperatures well into the 90s across most of the state and even a few low triple digits. Because of all the rain we've had recently, it is going to be humid and the heat index values are going to be close to or above 100. So it is going to be a hot weekend for a good chunk of Texas. So a few days of less active weather, but it's not going to stick around as we begin to get into early June. Here's the upper air pattern from the European deterministic weather model. This is taking a look at 500 millibars, about 18,500 feet above sea level, your low end of the jet stream winds. Now, what you're looking at here is that little upper level piece of energy that's going to be kicking in here this weekend. You can see that pretty well, and then it goes away. Then guess what? We have nothing showing up for several days, mostly except very weak upper level lift. But the key element here isn't necessarily that we don't have a lot of, big old dips in the jet stream. It's the fact we don't have an upper level heat dome setting up shop over us. So with that in place, we're actually going to see thunderstorm chances next week. A lot of pop-up shower and thunderstorm chances daily. Now, it's not a guaranteed rain out every day, but we're probably from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, decent part of Texas, if not a majority of Texas, will have about a 30 to 50% chance every day of getting a thunderstorm. Pop-up storms, that lightning is frightening, locally heavy rain, gusty winds. It's not a big severe weather setup. We're not looking at that for most of the week, but could have those pesky thunderstorms during the afternoon, early evening hours daily, especially by Tuesday, continuing through Friday of next week. While most of Texas for, Saturday, Sunday, maybe Monday, won't have to deal with too much of that. But of course, today, and maybe to a lower extent tomorrow, a few severe storm issues across the western half of Texas. This model is showing a bit of upper level lift trying to make its way back in here next weekend. We'll keep an eye on that. Now, here's the precipitation simulation from the deterministic European weather model. And you can see, most of the weekend we're not looking at too much rain. Outside, maybe a few light showers. And then that changes going into Monday. And then Tuesday onward, it's just, a free-for-all with pop-up shower and storm chances across Texas every afternoon and evening. And again, I don't want you to think, looking at this, it's going to be a washout every day where you are. But we are going to have Florida-like weather next week. Now, we mentioned this yesterday. Model data was trying to hint at an area of low pressure moving in and out of the Gulf late next week towards the upper Texas Gulf Coast and Louisiana. That possibility is still there, and we still emphasize this does not look like any sort of an organized tropical system in the sense of a hurricane, a tropical storm, anything where we'd have to worry too much about, damaging winds, a storm surge, etc. But it would help bring more moisture into the region and into the state, so that could help amplify rain chances going towards the second half of next week. Keep an eye out for AI misinformation, by the way. Some of those AI posts, I saw one ridiculous one saying some cyclone with named F something coming in here, and first off, we haven't even had a system in the Atlantic yet, so the first name system would start with the letter A. And if I was smart, I would have looked up the list here and actually given you what the first system would be named. But I didn't, so I'll just, make fun of myself there. Second off, again, if it looked like we were going to be dealing with a hurricane-type situation, trust me, I'd be telling you about it. I'd also be telling you that it's difficult to forecast that stuff 7 days out. But again, we're not looking at that. Even if we had a little tropical blob of doom try to get going, we're going to have a lot of wind shear with that upper-level dip in the jet stream late next weekend. So tropical systems do not like wind shear at all. It's the opposite of springtime storms. The reason tropical systems get going is a latent heat release from the ocean, hardly any upper-level wind shear at all, and that's why they're able to get going. It's the way the atmosphere is able to release, that latent heat energy. Well, there's reasons I just gave you that's not looking likely next weekend, but it could help amplify rain chances. Otherwise, guess what? It's almost summer. It's going to get hot. It's going to get humid. If the rain chances keep going, it'll be a bit less hot, but still going to be humid. Temperature outlook, June 2nd through 7th at the Climate Prediction Center, near average to slightly below average here in the state of Texas in the southeastern United States. And honestly, kind of El Nino-ish look. The subtropical jet stays a bit active, which is why you saw by next week and that model data tries to kick in that weak upper-level system coming in out of Mexico. That's a subtropical jet. In terms of main upper-level jet stream, you can see that's way up north in Canada this upcoming week. It's a very unfavorable pattern for storm chasing folks up in the northern plains. But here in Texas, because we don't have a heat dome setting up shop, well, we keep the rain. It's not a organized severe weather look in the sense of, softball-size hail, 80-mile-an-hour winds, and tornadoes out the wazoo, but it is a favorable pattern for us to get Florida-like weather with those pop-up shower and storm chances every day. And really, it's looking pretty likely next week. So if you end up under one of those heavier storms, downpours, you could get a quick couple inches of rain. It's also a case where it's very localized, so, your neighbor half a block over may not get a thing. And vice versa, pile that up days and days and days, and the rain map may look pretty good by the time we get to Wednesday and Thursday of next week across Texas. But we're also going to have to keep an eye out next weekend in case we start seeing a more organized pattern develop that would favor more widespread organized rain chances, because that could increase the threat of flooding. But at this point, it's just something we'll keep an eye out on because it's a week away. It is time to give a shout out to our spinny doomers here on the Texas Weather Roundup channel. A big thank you to Bert Alfie, Christina West, David Bass, David Nix, Donald Yellett, Heather Helm, J.A., Justin S., KFD Medic 301, Love Live Laugh, Meteorologist Jason Cooley, Michael, Nancy Rosenberg, Knight Davis, Paranoid Pocho, r/Tornado Chats, one of our amazing moderators, Rascal ZX2, Ryan Hucker, Tugboat, and Twinkie. Thanks, y'all, for helping to support us here. And thank you to everyone who watches, hits that like button, lets us know where you're watching from below. We really appreciate it. We love seeing all the locations. It really is mind-boggling, when we're doing these videos, and especially when we do severe weather coverage, how many people tune in from the areas being impacted. It really brings home to the fact we're able to make a difference across Texas, and well, that's why we're here. We're trying to do Texas for Texas weather information, and that's why we focus just on Texas. So we are going to have some rowdy weather later today in the western parts of the state of Texas. We are going to probably have a severe thunderstorm watch. It's another day where severe weather coverage is iffy, because I'm hoping we're not going to have serious enough issues in the fact of, tornadoes, softball-sized hail, etc. But we're going to be here keeping an eye on it. We can easily break into the 24/7 live stream here, which at the end of this video, it'll redirect to, by the way. So we're able to cut in on that. And as always, if we have more nasty stuff, or, heaven forbid, tornado warnings, we'll most definitely have live severe weather coverage. So keep an eye on the sky. You can do the same in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Just search for Texas Storm Chasers, or you download apps to your device. You can check us out, texasstormchasers.com/radar. We'll be here keeping you updated. Have an amazing rest of your Friday. Having a great weekend. Stay cool. Don't get sunburnt like I did earlier this month. And we'll talk to you later. God bless, and thank you for watching.